Welcome to Initial Scale Modelling. This is part 3 of Revell's Audi R10 TDI Scale 1 to 24. In part 2 I concentrated on the cockpit area. In this part I'll be actually bringing the build to a conclusion. So everything will be going on from the outer shell to all the decals and one or two problems along the way as well. So let's jump in and see what happened. So kicking off with the tyres and just inserting the inner rim into the actual tyre. This was quite a tight fit to get these in. I did leave the decals drying overnight. A couple of them did come off still though, which I was able to salvage and replace on. It's back to painting, and it's Revel Aquacolor 34 Italian Red, and this is for the side panels of the car, before going on to fitting the heads up for the driver position as well as the steering wheel. Like in the previous video, this is a very small part and I found it quite difficult to focus in on it with my camera. I'm using Revel Aquacolor 09 anthracite, and this is for the surrounding area of the cockpit. Also, if you're doing this, make sure you do the inner wall as well in the same colour. So I'm painting the shell with a light coat of 99 aluminium. Again, a light coat, build it up as you go along. Now it's time to put in the airflow intake panels. There's two of these to go in and they go at an angle. It's quite tricky to work out the positioning of them, but there is a location points on the inner part of the shell to guide you in, but it's still not 100% clear how they go in. Next to go in is the inner casing for the airflow system, and then these decals, only place them on if you're going to be having the engine shown, so therefore the back compartment will lift up. If you're having it as one solid unit, there's no need to put this decal on. Next to go in is the steering column. There's two location points just on the underside for this to fit into. And the same with this decal as the other one I just mentioned. Only put this on if you're having the compartment showing, otherwise there's no need to put it on. And also with this backing plate I'm just placing in, same thing. If you're having it closed up, there's no need to put it on. So I'm going back to painting on the sprue, and I'm painting the lamps for the headlights, and it's 90 silver by Revel Aquacolor. This colour is also used for the wing mirrors as well. Fitting the lamps themselves is fairly simple. First of all, put the lamp heading in from the back, and then using a tiny amount of canopy glue to secure the clear part onto the backing plate. Always use canopy glue for this if you do not wish the clear part to fog up. If you don't have any canopy glue, however, you can use any normal white glue. And also, if you've only got the actual cement, place the cement on and leave it for about a minute, 2 minutes. That will give the chance for the vapours to disappear and won't fog up your clear plastic part. The other light in the system actually goes into position from the front. So you make this one up, then just gently push it in to the location area. And for the light cover itself, again, it's a canopy glue before placing on the actual cover. Next is to place on the wheels. Now you can place this on once the body is attached, but the instructions say do it now, so I'm doing it now. And then two airfoils go on here. They simply click into position, and then the rear wheels. I should have pointed out actually the wheels are a different size, so the front ones are slightly smaller than the back wheels. Next is the carbon fibre decals to go on. Now, slight confession here, I did screw up with the decals later on down the line, and I had to paint over these decals. I just got one out of position, and by the time I noticed and tried to rectify it, it was too late. so I had to paint over it. For me, it's not a big deal. It's a shame, but these things happen. But for now, they went on okay. And I'm also placing a couple of decals on the hoods here. Now, you don't have to do this until you've assembled the model. It's entirely up to you how you do it. But I'm just following the instructions as I go along on this build, simply because I'm not very experienced in building this type of model. So it's now time to place the fuselage onto the bottom part. First of all, if you dry fitted the radiator and things like that beforehand, like I suggested, you'll be able to fit this a lot easier. If you haven't, this can be quite a tricky little fit to get right. You will definitely have to hold it down for a little while until it bonds as well. But once it was dry, it's just a case of placing it onto the bottom pan of the car. The two side panels just fit into a little groove that runs around the side of the underbelly of the car. But as I said, if you've dry fitted this, it should slot in without any problem. And what I mean by the dry fitting is putting the driver capsule in, then cementing in the radiators afterwards, so that you know that the capsule will just fall straight in without too much movement, or none at all. So it's on to the next set of decals, and these are the ones that I put in the wrong way. They should actually be up on the upper section of the car here. The arrow on the instruction appeared to me that it pointed to this section. So I got it completely wrong, and it took me ages to try and fit these in as well. Purely because they weren't meant to go there, I suppose. So I completely got this wrong at the end of it. But as I said, I was able to salvage some of them, but most of them I had to paint over. So what I did was I removed the red band and placed it on top where it should be, and then I painted over the area that should have had the different decals, and I'm painting this in Rebel Aquacolor 78 Tank Grey. But once it was dry, I was able to start putting on the other decals. The 78 Tank Grey is a really good match for these decals anyway. There's very slight colour variants. There's 3 antennas to paint, and it's 302 silk black. Then I'm moving on to 90 silver, and for the bottom tips of the connection points, it's 93 copper. And now to fit all these little parts, first of all the wing mirrors go in, and then the antennas. If you are doing putting the decals on, make sure you put the German flag on first, because the location point for that will sit directly below the yellow part of the German flag. So next to go in is the back cover. Now I'm not gluing this in position because I'm having mine with the option to have it open, but it does fit quite nicely. So if you are having it closed, you shouldn't have any problems with it. And now everything's on, I'm just placing on the decals. As you can see, I've fast forwarded this part. There's quite a lot of decals to put on, but they all went on without any troubles whatsoever. I will say though, I thought the decals laid a bit heavily on the kit. I could have done with them being a bit lighter. Even using microsol, they still were a little bit heavy, in my opinion, for the kit. But that's just a personal preference, really. So now I'm going on to the base, and it's quite a simple mock-up, this base. So as you can see, I've actually speeded up this process because it's just a simple slot A into slot B kind of construction. You don't need any glue or anything like that. You're just popping out the board and putting it all in place. It's as simple as that, really. There's not much to it at all. Just breaking from the actual building of the diorama, I forgot to mention about the varnish that I'm using for the actual car itself. So the last thing to do to the actual build is to just put a coat of varnish on it, and I'm using Winsor and Newton gloss varnish. Now this is a very good varnish for models. It's an acrylic varnish, and it's a good value for money as well if you want a nice hard varnish. So it's back to the build of the diorama, and I'm just fitting the base on here. As I said, it's just fitting it into the slots. It took no trouble whatsoever. You just be a bit careful that you're placing them in the right way. But if you do get it wrong, it's easy to sort out. So this is actually going to bring the build to an end. There was a couple of little problems along the way, but that was probably down more to me than the actual kit itself. As I said, I'm not very experienced building cars and things like that, so I would imagine it was down to me. I would recommend this kit for most people actually, because it was such an easy build as such. If you've never done anything like this before and fancy doing a sort of sports car, this is a good one to get your teeth into. Plus the fact with it coming with its own little diorama base, it's well worth getting. So this video went on a little bit longer than I was hoping, so I won't put the reveal in at the end of this one. I'll do it in a separate video, so it'll just be a little video of the actual reveal. So if you haven't done so already, why don't you check out the channel for my other builds and for the entire build log of this particular build. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll be notified about my builds that I'll be doing in the future. Hit that like button, and of course leave a comment if you've got any questions about this build or any future builds that I may be doing, or any just general questions I may be able to help you with. I'm more than happy to answer them. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.